Michael Carter Williams. This guy had one of the strangest NBA careers ever. His first game, absolutely insane. He dropped 22 points, dished out 12 assists, grabbed 7 rebounds, and swiped 9 steals, all in his debut. That steal total, still the most ever for a rookie in their first game. People thought he was the second coming. The league named him Eastern Conference Player of the Week right away. That hadn't happened since Shaq did it back in the early 90s. But after that, things got weird, fast. He had shoulder surgery before his second season and just never looked the same. His rookie numbers were right there with legends like Oscar Robertson and Magic Johnson, but then it all flatlined. Off the court, it got even messier. He got hit with a $500 fine for shoplifting a robe and gloves in college. A robe, gloves, not exactly typical future NBA star behavior. Later, he opened up about anxiety attacks and how the stress ruined his relationships and career, but then came the twist, boxing. In 2025, he showed up in a charity heavyweight match and joined ESPN as an analyst. Honestly, that pivot's just wild. Thon Maker. Everything about him felt like a glitch in the basketball simulation. First, that draft age drama. He claimed to be 19, but a bunch of front offices whispered he was probably 21, maybe even 23. Teams flat out passed on him over it. Then there's how he slid past the one-year college rule. He convinced the NBA that his last year in Canada was a prep year, not high school, making him eligible for the draft without touching college ball. Legal, but weird. His high school mixtapes showed a 7-footer crossing dudes up, running the floor, and flying with a 32-inch vertical, highest ever for someone his size. Then he hit the league and barely did anything. Across 6 years, just 4.6 points per game. Random flashes here and there, then off. He went to G League, China, Israel, Lebanon. His background's wild too. Born in Sudan, fled to Uganda, got refugee status in Australia, and zigzagged across North America for school. And don't forget the family. One cousin tried for the NBA, another plays soccer for a club literally named Flat Earth FC. That alone deserves a raised eyebrow. Shawn Bradley. This guy's story is built out of weird block, literally. Standing 7 feet 6 inches tall, he was one of the tallest players in league history. But that size didn't come from any condition. It was all natural. He was a blocking machine too, with the highest block percentage ever recorded and over 2 blocks per game across 12 seasons. And yeah, he even had a game with 22 points, 22 rebounds, and 13 blocks off the bench. That stat line had only been matched by a few Hall of Famers. Still, he finished with just 8 points and 6 boards per game. He wasn't just tall, he was odd. Nicknamed the Stormin' Mormon, he appeared in Space Jam, ran a cattle ranch with over 350 cows, and started a construction equipment company. In 2021, things turned tragic when a biking accident left him paralyzed from the chest down. At 7'6", there's never been a case like his, requiring custom everything for recovery. Add to that his refusal to attend a strip club event because of his religious beliefs and getting fined for it. And you've got a story that's part NBA, part documentary, and all weird. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to be posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, Andre Drummond. This man is like a walking contradiction wrapped in rebounds. He once straight up admitted to missing shots on purpose just so he could grab his own rebound. That's not strategy, that's stat padding in its purest form. And then there's the nickname, Big Penguin. No one knows why, including Drummond himself. It's like someone spun a nickname roulette wheel and just stuck with it. In 2016, he missed 23 free throws in a single game. That's not just a bad night, that's a record. He broke Wilt Chamberlain's long-standing record, and not in a good way. His career free throw percentage hovers under 50%, which is, frankly, historic in all the wrong ways. But he still dominates the glass, led the league in rebounding 4 times, and crushed jump ball wins at an almost comical rate. Then there's the moment with the Bulls. He snatched a lob from his own teammate, caused a fall, then rolled his ankle and needed a wheelchair. And once, he got ejected mid-game, only for officials to reverse it minutes later. Oh, and to meet his calorie goals, he drank beer every single day. Drummond's whole career is a string of wild stats, weird choices, and unbelievable moments. Jeremy Lin. His story reads like someone dared reality to get weird. After bouncing around, undrafted, and overlooked, he dropped 89 points in his first 3 starts, more than anyone since the NBA merged. That included back-to-back games where he went toe-to-toe with stars and torched them, all from a Harvard grad who dominated the Ivy League but got stuck in the D League before getting a shot. He was the first American-born player of Chinese or Taiwanese descent to ever play in the NBA and win a ring. But along the way, he got hit with racist slurs in college and the league. He trademarked Linsanity, but turned down major endorsement offers because of his faith. That's not just weird, it's rare. His sudden fame didn't last. The Knicks rode the wave, but teammates reportedly got jealous. The frenzy burned out in just weeks. Then he quietly bounced through several teams before winning a title with Toronto in 2019. Since then, China, Taiwan, podcasting, philanthropy, and a wax statue prank at Madame Tussauds. He's weird, not because he tried to be. He just never fit the mold. And every chapter of his journey proves it wasn't an accident. Corey Brewer. His entire NBA story hangs on one of the weirdest box scores ever. Back in April of 2014, he dropped 51 points out of nowhere. That wasn't just a career high, it was a career detour. He averaged 8.7 points for his entire career and never got close to that again. It's the statistical equivalent of someone shouting during a library tour and then vanishing. This wasn't some bench warmer who came out of nowhere either. He won back-to-back NCAA titles with Florida and was Final Four most outstanding player. Then he got drafted 7th overall and spent nearly 2 decades in the league as a defensive specialist. He chased stars like Kobe, LeBron, Wade, and Durant around screens, swiping passes and sprinting in transition. But then, out of thin air, came that scoring explosion. It was so wild that Reddit called it the most statistically random 50-point game in league history. He made his name playing defense, hustling, and being a total chaos agent in the passing lanes. Then he suddenly morphed into a microwave scorer for one night and one night only. That contrast, pure basketball whiplash. And yeah, pretty weird. Gerald Green. His whole career feels like a highlight reel with missing chapters. In 6th grade, he lost part of his right ring finger while dunking on a homemade rim. That didn't stop him. He turned into a high flyer with a nearly 40-inch vertical. He didn't even start playing high school ball until his sophomore year, but still won the McDonald's All-American Dunk Contest in 2005. Then came the NBA Slam Dunk Contest in 2007, where he blew out a birthday candle mid-air and won the whole thing. The next year, he lost to Dwight Howard, despite another airborne candle stunt. He scored a 91 in the dunk finals once, but his dunks became more memorable than his games. Green later said the contest hurt Gerald, pigeonholing him as just a dunker. He played overseas in Russia and China, then came back to drop 41 points in a Suns game, just to disappear again. He joined the G League in 2022 and helped Rio Grande Valley win a title. His story's packed with wild dunks, overseas stints, sudden scoring, and a missing finger. Never boring, always unpredictable. That's Gerald Green, part superhero, part mystery. Metta World Peace. This man is a real-life plot twist. He legally changed his name from Ron Artest to Metta World Peace in 2011 to promote kindness. Then elbowed James Harden in the head so hard the guy nearly got knocked into next week. Years later, he added Sandiford to honor his wife. The name Journey alone reads like a satire, but nothing tops the malice at the palace. He jumped into the stands and punched a fan after getting hit with a drink. That brawl got him suspended 86 games, the longest non-drug ban in NBA history. And yet, after all that, he donated his championship ring and became a vocal mental health advocate. You can't make this stuff up. On the weirdness scale, haunted hotel. He claimed ghosts touched him inappropriately, said he considered suing them, but stayed because he wanted to finish a movie. He also once drank Hennessy at halftime. And then, reality shows, lip sync battle, Big Brother, Masked Singer, even Dancing with the Stars, where he got booted in week 1. His career bounces from chaos to peace, fists to therapy, and haunted hotel rooms to donation campaigns. Metta World Peace is contradiction personified. Chris Andersen. This dude might as well have been invented by a tattoo artist during a fever dream. Known as Birdman, he had flame tattoos licking up his arms, wings inked on his biceps, and enough color across his body to qualify as a living mural. But behind the chaotic look was a career full of sharp turns and strange choices. He went undrafted in 2000 and started in the minor leagues before clawing into the NBA through sheer energy and blocked shots. Then, out of nowhere, he got banned in 2006 for violating the league's substance abuse policy. Not suspended, banned. That kind of ruling is reserved for the rarest cases. He spent 2 years out of the league before getting reinstated and coming back just as wild, just as spring-loaded. He became a Miami Heat cult hero in 2013 during their title run, bringing mohawks, screams, and actual production off the bench. He wasn't just a sideshow. He was swatting shots and flying around like a caffeinated hawk. But between the tattoos, the ban, the redemption arc, and that non-stop manic energy, Chris Andersen didn't just play basketball. He flapped, squawked, and dive-bombed through it. Eric Bledsoe. The man had a 7-foot wingspan packed into a 6'1" frame. That's not just long, it's comic book long. You'd expect that kind of reach on a forward, not a compact point guard crashing the lane like a linebacker. But then again, nothing about his career moved in a straight line. His high school transcript came under fire after an algebra grade was mysteriously upgraded from a C to an A, raising eligibility flags before Kentucky scooped him up. The NCAA shrugged it off, but the whole thing smelled sketchy. On the court, he lived at the rim. Nearly half his shots came right at the basket, where he converted nearly 70%. Beyond that, mid-range and deep shooting were a train wreck. And then there's the tweet. I don't want to be here. The Suns claimed he was talking about a hair salon. Nobody bought that. The league fined him $10,000. His career also had these wild bursts, 40-point games, stat sheet stuffing streaks, followed by complete fade-outs. Then came the domestic violence arrest in 2022. Weeks later, he popped up in China with the Shanghai Sharks. Bledsoe's story is a zigzag of elite talent, off-court drama, and basketball tunnel vision. All strange, all real. Andrea Bargnani. It was because of a personality test. Scouts were blown away by his caliper results, calling them historic. On paper, he was a 7-footer with a jumper, so people started tossing around Nowitzki comparisons way too fast. Problem was, Bargnani hated rebounding and interior defense. He logged some of the worst rebounding seasons ever for a player his size, literally dead last for a 7-footer. He entered with shooting hype, but even that went sideways. His numbers dipped year by year, eventually bottoming out at under 28% from 3. Add in bad timing with injuries, appendectomy, torn elbow ligaments, hamstring trouble, and he never found a rhythm. And then came the Knicks moment. In overtime, instead of holding the ball to draw a foul, he jacked a 3 off an offensive rebound and missed. It was the kind of decision that made Raptors fans wonder if he'd ever actually tried to grow his game. After 10 underwhelming seasons, he quietly returned to Europe, claiming he'd have played for free just to fix his narrative. It never happened. Too weird. Too late. Mo Williams. You don't expect a career role player to randomly torch the league for 52 points, but that's exactly what happened in January of 2015. He dropped that on 19 for 33 shooting, while his career average hovered around 13 points per game. That explosion looked more like a glitch than a breakout. Then came the weirdest non-retirement retirement ever. After winning a ring with Cleveland in 2016, he said he was done. Then he reversed it. Then he had knee surgery. Nobody really knew what he was doing, including maybe him. And while still not playing, he got traded 4 times in 1 month. 4. He was claimed, waived, traded again, then waived again, all without touching the floor once. Back in 2015, after LeBron left Cleveland, Williams had a full-on Twitter meltdown, talking about how bad he was and flirting with quitting the league. A blog even called him the worst player on the planet. But plot twist, by 2022, he was a head coach at Jackson State. From random 50-point guy to emotional spiral to sideline boss, Mo Williams pulled off a career arc that feels made up, but it's not. It's just weird. Lamar Odom, one of the strangest blends of talent, chaos, and confession the league has ever seen. Before games, he said he'd relieve stress by masturbating, seriously, and admitted it sometimes drained his energy. Add to that his candy obsession, Twizzlers, gummy bears, chocolate, pounded during games. Doctors warned him, but he kept going like sugar was a pregame supplement. On court, he was an anomaly. 6'10", handled like a guard, won 6th Man of the Year and 2 titles. But consistency was never his thing. One night, a triple-double. The next night, a vanishing act. Off the court, total whirlwind. Drugs, a marriage to Khloe Kardashian, DUI, cheating scandals, and eventually a near-death overdose in a Nevada brothel. And then came the full public unraveling. During a reality TV stint, he casually admitted to peeing in his own bed. That alone puts him in a league of his own. Literally, he made over $100 million, won Olympic gold, and said he shook hands with death. From the Lakers bench to a coma, from Skittles to scandals, his journey is full-on bizarre. It's not just weird, it's a life that played out like a surreal basketball soap opera. Bol Bol. This guy's like a video game character that glitched into real life. At 7'3" with limbs that look copy-pasted from an action figure, he moves like a guard, but blocks like a center. His wingspan's so long, it practically enters the arena 5 seconds before he does. His dad was even taller, so yes, the Bol family tree is basically just one really long branch. He had top 3 pick hype in 2019 before a rare foot injury nuked his stock. He dropped to the 2nd round, got traded immediately, and started bouncing around the league. Denver, Orlando, Phoenix, barely sticking, even when healthy. And yet, out of nowhere, he'll drop a 25-14 game like he's been hiding in plain sight. He once cursed out a ref over a Wembanyama call, and the mic caught every word. That's not your usual gentle giant moment. He's had stretches where he starts and shines, then suddenly vanishes into the bench for weeks. He's a walking contradiction, built like a skyscraper. plays like a shooting guard, but pops up like a part-time ghost. Bol Bol is basketball's glitchiest unicorn. Darko. He was drafted 2nd overall in 2003, right after LeBron James and before Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, and D. Wade. And what did he do? He scored a total of 152 points in 96 games for Detroit. He won a championship ring as a rookie, but barely got off the bench. Youngest finals player ever? Yes. Impact? Basically none. He's admitted since that he was immature and selfish, said he played for his ego, not the team. His attitude clashed with coaches, teammates, and, well, reality. By the time he hit Memphis, he was punching walls and tearing his jersey mid-game. His flashes of skill always got buried under frustration, and then he left the league and went full plot twist. He tried kickboxing in 2014, got knocked out in round 2, tried to return to pro basketball in Serbia, changed his mind. He now runs a giant apple farm in Novi Sad and once entered an international fishing tournament. He even talks openly about his failures, which might be the weirdest turn of all. From NBA bust to orchard boss, Darko's story is pure basketball whiplash. Brandon Roy. He was never supposed to be unpredictable, but that's what makes him so weird. Known for steady production, he suddenly exploded for 52 points in a single game in 2008. He averaged under 19 for his career, yet dropped that nuke out of nowhere. 19 of 33 shooting and 19 free throws. Wildly off-brand. Then came the knees. In 2011, he retired at 27 with no cartilage left. That should have been the end. But 1 year later, he unretired, signed with Minnesota, played 5 games, needed surgery again, and retired for good. The whole cycle was just baffling. And out of nowhere, he re-emerged as a high school coach in Seattle. Not only that, he dominated. By 2023, he'd won 3 state titles and earned National Coach of the Year honors. From All-Star to Sudden Ghost to Youth Dynasty Leader, his playoff arc was just as odd. In 2010, he went from hero to total no-show, missed every shot in a game and barely played. Then, in 2017, he was shot in the leg shielding kids from a drive-by. His career never made sense. And somehow, that's what makes it unforgettable. Michael Olowokandi. He didn't even pick up a basketball until he was 17. Before that, rugby, cricket, and track in London. He found the University of Pacific in a college brochure and offered to pay his way to play. Somehow, that turned into being the #1 pick in the 1998 draft, over Dirk Nowitzki, Vince Carter, and Paul Pierce. He was 7'1", with long arms and smooth feet, but never developed NBA-level skills. His career numbers were underwhelming, just over 8 points and 6 boards a game. In 2001, he made history. For the wrong reason. He became the only player to start all 82 games and still post negative win shares. That's not a slump, that's a math problem. He never attempted a single three-pointer in over 13,000 minutes. He clashed with teammates, ignored coaching. Kareem even called him out. He got fined, suspended, and once even argued with a ref mid-scuffle. And then he vanished. No broadcasting gig, no coaching job, just faded. A #1 pick who became a trivia question. Olowokandi's career is weird, from start to quiet finish, like a headline that never got written. James Johnson. He calls himself Bloodsport and claims to be 20-0 in kickboxing with a black belt in karate, and maybe even some MMA fights. The problem? No one can find any official records. His fight resume seems to shift depending on who's asking. Reddit's been on this for years. It's part tough guy myth, part wait, is that even true? On the court, he's played exactly like someone who might throw a roundhouse kick. He once dunked viciously on Drummond and talked about it like he just scored in Mortal Kombat. He's brawled, bodied up, and built a rep as the guy nobody wants to tangle with during a screen switch. And somehow, through 16 years and 13 different teams, he's stuck around. From a raw first-round pick to a role-hopping enforcer to a steady locker room mentor for young guys in Indiana. That transition from wrecking ball to wise vet is whiplash. Oh, and in 2014, he was arrested for domestic assault, but the case vanished when the accuser skipped court. Not exactly the type of career arc you see every day. James Johnson's a strange mix of mystery, menace, and mentorship. Equal parts fact and fog. Gilbert Arenas. He called himself Agent Zero because nobody believed in him. And then he exploded into a 3-time All-Star, most improved player, and dropped 60 points in a game. He was flashy, funny, lethal on the court, and loved trolling opponents with buzzer beaters and post-game quotes that read like stand-up routines. But that legend unraveled fast. In December 2009, he brought 4 guns into the Wizards locker room during a gambling beef with teammate Javaris Crittenton. He laid them out with a note, pick one. Crittenton pulled a loaded one of his own. They both got suspended for the season, and the fallout ended both of their careers. Arenas later said, "That moment erased everything. You can do 100 things right." And he was right. He got amnestied by Orlando, flamed out in Memphis, played overseas, and vanished from NBA relevance. Then came the weird rebound. He co-hosts podcasts, pops up in Netflix docs, and still tells wild stories with that same chaotic charm. His career flipped from superstar prankster to cautionary tale overnight. Arenas didn't just cross a line. He jogged past it holding 4 guns and a smirk. His legacy is brilliant, reckless, and unmistakably weird. Hasheem Thabeet, drafted 2nd overall in 2009, right before future Hall of Famers. That alone would have been wild, but it only gets weirder. He averaged just over 2 points and 2 rebounds a game across 224 appearances. You could blink and miss his entire NBA impact. In college, he was swatting shots like he was allergic to basketballs. He averaged over 4 blocks a game at UConn and even had a triple-double that included 10 blocks. But in the NBA, not even 1 block a game. Before his rookie season even finished, Memphis sent him to the D-League. He became the tallest and highest drafted player ever demoted there. That's not a record anyone wants. Then came the mental crash. He admitted the pressure broke him, and despite training with NBA veterans, he never found his way back. His career turned into a travel blog, playing in Japan, Taiwan, Tanzania, and wherever else needed a very tall man with no stat sheet. To top it off, a blog once wrote a fake letter from his hair blaming takeout and heartbreak. Parody or not, it sealed his spot in the weirdest player hall forever. Keith Claus, standing 7'3" and weighing just over 200 pounds, he looked more like a walking ladder than a center. At Central Connecticut State, he averaged nearly 6 blocks per game, a record still untouched in Division I. Despite that, he went undrafted in 1997, and somehow, the Clippers still gave him over $8 million. His NBA run, about 1 block per game, under 4 points, and barely 3 rebounds. But he led the team in blocks per 48 minutes, which made him a stat sheet puzzle. Then came the CBA, where he led in blocks again while barely scoring 7. His weirdness goes beyond stats, though. Claus admitted to drinking since grade school. That spiraled into 3 DUIs, secret drinking habits, and a public intoxication arrest. He started recovery in 2007 and actually stayed on track after bouncing through China. In other minor leagues, he eventually became a coach in the Dominican Republic. Now he works with youth and speaks publicly about recovery. From towering enigma to global shot blocker to reformed mentor, Claus might be the only player to turn rock bottom into a job application. His story's equal parts strange, sad, and kind of inspiring. Mark Eaton. Before swatting shots in the NBA, he was literally fixing cars. He worked as a mechanic in California, nowhere near a basketball court until a coach convinced him to try junior college. He got drafted in the 4th round at age 26. That's usually the age player's peak, not start. In 1985, he blocked 456 shots in 1 season. That's over 5 blocks a game. Still the most in league history. No one else has even come close. His career average, 3.5. Pure defense, minimal everything else. One game, he scored 12 points, grabbed 20 rebounds, and had 14 blocks, but shot 1 for 12. That's the most defense-heavy, bricklaying stat line ever recorded. He never averaged more than 9 points, yet he anchored Utah's paint for 11 straight years. Same team, same job, just blocking everything. After retirement, he got into biking, which sounds harmless, unless you're 7'4". He had a custom-built frame and wheels made just for him. In 2021, he died in a bicycle accident just a block from home. From fixing engines to blocking legends, his life was one wild, unexpected curveball after another. Strange, singular, and unforgettable. Chris Kaman, nicknamed Caveman for his wild, stringy blonde hair. He leaned hard into the look and the oddball vibe. He once allegedly posed with a dead cat and cooked up a fake story about Blake Griffin punching Justin Bieber. Tabloids ran with it. Later in his career, he literally fell asleep on the Lakers bench during a game. Just sat there and dozed off while the team played. He had 66 games with over 20 points, but never cracked 30. Not once. For a starter with over 10 years in the league, that's basically a unicorn stat. He averaged 11 points, just under 8 rebounds, and made an all-star team in 2010, which still feels like an accident. Born in Michigan, he somehow became a German citizen in 2008 and played in the Olympics without speaking German. Diagnosed with ADHD as a toddler, he eventually opened up about it publicly, which made him even more relatable. Then came the clog. Yes, clogs. A streetwear company released came-in basketball clogs that honored his odd legacy. No drama, no scandals, just pure weird. His career is a quiet celebration of being your own person in a league that rarely rewards it. Eddy Curry, he didn't touch a basketball until 7th grade because he wanted to be a gymnast. Not even joking, but by senior year, he bulldozed Illinois high school courts and took home Mr. Basketball. Then came the heart issues. In 2005, Curry missed games for irregular heartbeats. The Bulls told him to take a DNA test to rule out a serious condition. He said no. They traded him. That's how he ended up in New York, nicknamed Baby Shaq, but somehow went 2 for 2 from 3. That's right, he never missed from deep. 2 shots, 2 makes. A perfect 3-point record for a 7-footer built to live in the paint. He made over $70 million in the league and still had a home foreclosed in 2009, then got evicted in 2021. After bouncing from the Bulls to the Knicks, he even got a ring with Miami. But then came China and later ASEAN leagues, long after his prime. And then the truly grim part, a lawsuit from his chauffeur and the devastating murder of his ex-girlfriend and infant daughter. Curry's story isn't just weird, it's staggering, with every chapter stranger and more tragic than the last. Smush Parker, born William, but legally changed his name to the one his mom gave him, Smush. That's how things start. He went undrafted in 2002 and still ended up starting 162 straight games for the Lakers. No hype, no draft night, just Smush. Then came the Kobe feud. Smush called his Lakers run overrated. Kobe responded by saying he never should have been in the league at all. Brutal. They never patched things up before Kobe passed. On top of that, Smush got suspended by the Heat after allegedly assaulting a parking attendant over $12. Later, he reportedly punched a teenage player while officiating a pickup game. Off the court, he played professionally in over 10 countries: Russia, Iran, Mongolia, you name it. 17 years of bouncing around, chasing the game wherever it took him. And now, he's trying to become an NBA referee. Almost no former players have done that. His stats were modest: 9 points, nearly 3 assists, a steal per game. But his story is packed with strange turns. From modeling in high school to being called the aviator on streetball courts, Smush Parker didn't follow the rules. Now he wants to enforce them. Delon Wright, drafted in 2015, he somehow played for 10 teams in 10 seasons. That's not normal for a first-round pick, but he keeps getting roster spots because teams love what he does on defense. He ranks near the top in defensive foul rate every year. He's physical without hacking, smart without being flashy, but offensively, almost invisible. He rarely shoots, barely drives, and lets others take the spotlight. It's strange, but effective. What makes it more interesting is his tattoo setup. His chest and arms are covered in a full mural of his life story: South Central, his family, his journey, all inked across his body. Not the usual for a quiet role player. He also dropped 3 career triple-doubles, including back-to-back ones in 2019. That's rare for any player, let alone one with such low usage. Then there's his playoff pop-up with the Knicks in 2025. Traded mid-season, barely used, then suddenly logging key Eastern Conference Finals minutes and helping outscore Indiana when he was on the court. Add in his start at junior college and rise to the Pac-12's best guard, and you've got a career arc that never follows the script. Odd, efficient, and quietly unpredictable. Matthew Dellavedova, listed at 6'4" and barely 190 pounds, he's built more like a mailman than an NBA guard. He never dunked on anyone, never crossed a soul into retirement, and yet somehow became a defensive nightmare in the final. One game, he literally missed the team bus and had to take an Uber back. His teammate joked they forgot he existed. Off the court, he's basically your cousin. Rides public transport, plays board games, and once called his teenage look a beard and brace his situation. Before games, he had to pee. That was his focus strategy. Pre-game leak, he called it. Totally serious. And the cramps. During the 2015 finals, he cramped up so badly, he went to the hospital. Later, he turned that into a business, launching a coffee blend called Good Day Mate. He's also got ADH, and somehow pairs that with high IQ play. Loved by LeBron, Kobe, and Barkley. Though some called him reckless, never flashy, never loud, but somehow always there. He's the only finals folk hero who got famous for sweat, caffeine, board games, and a bathroom break. He's weird, he's real, and it all actually happened. Tyler Hansbrough. In college, they called him Psycho T, and it fit too well. He led North Carolina in scoring and rebounding every season, won every award in 2008, and was basically the human version of a Red Bull can. Opponents hated him. One coach even clocked that he got cursed out every 5 minutes. In the NBA, his energy stayed high, but his numbers did not. Just under 7 points and 4 rebounds per game. Over 428 appearances. From NCAA legend, to very forgettable bench guy. And then there was the vertigo. He missed games with it in 2010, which made his signature chaos look like a glitchy simulation. Injuries piled on, and he quietly fell out of the league. But overseas, completely different guy. He went to China and dropped 32 points a game in the CBA. Then, while still playing there, he popped up doing TV work. Yes, a live pro athlete, calling games during his own season. The guy who once had players literally tackling him became a world-traveling, studio-suited veteran. His whole story's like a gritty highlight reel taped over with reruns of two totally different lives. Jared Dudley, 14 NBA seasons, 7 teams, 1 title, and about 10,000 jokes. He was a reliable bench guy who somehow started 162 straight games and then got caught napping during others, literally sleeping. On camera, he created a fake sports network called JMZ, where he'd ambush teammates in the locker room with parody interviews, way before players turned into content creators. In 2014, he went 10 for 10 from the field and 4 for 4 from deep in one game. That's a shooting clinic from a guy best known for glue work and grunts. And yes, he never missed a dunk in his career. 36 for 36. Perfection, but in the weirdest possible stat line. During the bubble, he confessed to missing a female companion, which was probably the most relatable moment of that entire postseason. Off the court, he co-wrote an ebook and spoke up during the league's social justice meetings. Now he's coaching in Dallas, like he just wandered from the bench to the clipboard. Dudley was the NBA's background actor who kept stealing scenes. A napper, a mentor, a prankster, and a dunking anomaly, somehow all wrapped into one quiet, weird package. Mason Plumlee, built like a classic big man at 6'10" and 254 pounds, but dishes out assists like he's auditioning for point guard. In 2017, he ranked in the 93rd percentile for screen assists. Yes, that's a real stat. And yes, he dominated it. Then there's his free throws. Midway through his career, he just decided to start shooting left-handed. No real explanation. Sometimes, he even switched hands between attempts. In 2021, at age 30, he notched his first career triple-double. 17 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, making him the oldest first-timer since Patrick Ewing. And no, he didn't do it by dominating the paint. He passed his way in. Fast forward to March 2025. He got ejected after wrestling Steven Adams to the floor. No punches, just elbows, tangled limbs, and a mutual trip to the locker room. Off the court, he's part of a 3-brother dynasty. Miles, Marshall, and Mason each played at Duke and all reached the NBA. Drafted in 2013, he's bounced between 7 teams, yet quietly shoots over 60% from the field. Plumlee's a strange mix of efficiency, instability, and ambidextrous chaos. A truly weird basketball life. If you enjoyed this, I'm gonna be posting a lot here. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.